Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I am going to give a 2-year follow-up to a question that I often receive. And I did a video on this 2 years ago as to why I am not married. For some reason, I didn't realize that that video has taken off. I don't know when it happened, but a lot of eyes have been on it, and I think I deserve to tell you guys an update, or else a lot of you are going to be confused. The biggest reason why I want to give you guys an update is not because I want to share my personal life or that I think that it should be out there. I don't think that most of you actually really care, but I do think that it can be useful in showing growth, because the video that I did 2 years ago, it explained why logically and why emotionally I was not ready to get married. And I want to talk today about why I feel like those things I have healed within myself, and I feel like I am ready to get married. And I'm also going to share a big news update towards the end of this video. But I want to go into depth as to what I was talking about in the video 2 years ago, like the hiccups that I was having, because I think that you guys can relate. I think a lot of you guys can relate, especially for anyone that has been married in the past and has gone through divorce, and then you're looking at having a new relationship, and maybe you're facing that decision, like, do you want to get married again? Do you just want a lifelong committed partner? Do you not want any of that? Do you just want short-term dating relationships that can just be fun? Or do you just want to stay single for the rest of your life? And you don't need a partner in that way. You can have friendships, you can have family, you can have really good, authentic, meaningful relationships without that intimate, committed partner. So hopefully this video is beneficial. I want to say I am so thankful for you guys that are here, that have been watching me from the start, that might be new to this channel. I just hit 800,000 subscribers about a week ago, and I just never expected that when I started this channel. So it's kind of awesome to see. I hope that you guys find some benefit to not only my channel, but also to this video. Let me know in the comments what you think. Okay, so going back to the video 2 years ago, I am gonna link it with this one so that you guys don't have to search for it if you're new here and you're like, what the heck is she talking about? I think that you're gonna see the growth. I think that if you watch that video, I rewatched it just 10 minutes ago. I rewatched it before filming this, and I must say, it's just kind of crazy how you really can think that you're gonna be in this one mindset, and how drastically and quickly that can change over a short time period. I mean, really, 2 years is not all that long. Let's revisit the reasons why I said I was not married 2 years ago. At the time, also, side note, I was pregnant with my youngest. She is now almost 2 years old, and I am obviously still together with her dad. But in case you guys missed it, I talk about it every so often here or there. I was previously married to my back a long time ago high school sweetheart. So had very much minimal relationships up until meeting him, and then being in a very long-term committed relationship into marriage. The marriage was 12 years, and then that ending up in divorce. We separated in 2019. One of the very logical reasons I gave for not being married at the time that I did the video in 2023 was because even though we had separated in 2019, it actually took quite a while to finalize the divorce. It wasn't until 2022 that that was actually finalized. So yes, there had been a year in between, 2022 when we had finalized it and 23 when I was doing the video and I was pregnant. But a lot more usually happens in that time period in order to get married. So we're talking about engagement, planning wedding, and all of that. So there just wasn't time, logistically, there just wasn't time to do the type of wedding that I desired and that the man that I'm with desired. So that was very important. Logistically, I felt like it wasn't the right timing. Now, on his end of things, he was also previously married and divorced in 2019, but he finalized his divorce within like 3 months. It was super fast. But he has a child from that marriage. And even though you can finalize your divorce, it may not mean that things are settled with child custody. So that was his case, right? So their divorce kind of really pushed off the decisions on child custody and visitation and the schedule and all of that. And in 2023, when I made that video, he was actually going through child custody court, and it had been initiated by him. I don't want to give too many details, but it was initiated by him in order to improve visitation. Now, things have changed a lot. And now we know that all of our kids would be able to be present at our wedding, which is a huge deal. That is highly important to me. So those are the logistical reasons that I listed. If I'm going to be fully honest though, guys, like any of that could have potentially been worked through if there wasn't the emotional piece. So I think, if somebody was asking me back then, like, what's the truth of it? What's the real reason? I have to lean on these emotional reasons as being the real reason. And those are what I'm going to go through with you next. And those are the things that I feel like I have had the most growth with. And a lot of it has to do with mindset. A lot of you guys that have been through divorce, I feel like I can relate to a lot of experiences that men typically go through, because at the time of my divorce, I was actually the breadwinner, but it wasn't always like that. Like when we got married, I was not the breadwinner. It was actually him. With that, what was being threatened was that I was going to owe him child support, even though I was like maintaining the household. Honestly, I couldn't afford that, paying, like $1,200 a month or even $1,000, even $500 a month. I don't think I could afford at that time, and be able to pay the entire house mortgage plus take care of my kids, because, I couldn't work additional hours and have them at the same time. It was so scary. And I think that was slightly traumatizing. I think that I can relate to a lot of you guys that go through this, because that is the story I hear quite often, is you getting divorced and then you having to house yourself, maintain your own life, but then also pay all this money to child support to support your ex, and that household. And I don't think that's fair if you guys share custody pretty equally, because you're over here needing to have a room, you're needing to have a roof over your head, and then also for when you have your child, but you don't get any support for that. Like instead, you're actually supporting the other household. So that's where I come from, like personally. My stance on that comes from a very personal experience of not what did end up happening to me, because that didn't end up happening to me, but the fear of that happening was definitely there. I definitely lived the potential of that. With that experience, what a lot of people don't understand is that you end up a little bit of a cynic. Like I had a bit of cynicism when it came to signing another legal document and potentially ending up in that situation again. That was extremely scary. And after going through it, I think you guys can relate that have been through it, that you're like, I'm never doing that again. Like the solution to that not happening is not signing the document. But I can tell you today that that's not actually the solution. The solution is having the right person by your side. It is. It's being fully aware. It's having the time before marriage to really know the person that you're marrying. And I can say that after 5 years of being with the same man and having a child and going through that experience, like that definitely tests things. And you definitely go through all the scenarios that you would think that you're going to go through within like the first 20 years of marriage. I think the only thing that we haven't gone through is like a death of a parent, and having that sort of support structure in place. But I think other than that, like there's been so much that we've experienced, and I can say that with every experience, it's just slowly broken down that fear of signing a document. The other big emotional piece that I talked about holding me back 2 years ago was actually my history of being a hopeless romantic, and that being kind of crumbled and ruined by a divorce, and the crumbling of a marriage. Because I really always held the belief that you go through different time periods in your marriage. That's okay. Like, you're going to have ups and downs, but you stay true, you stay faithful, and you stick with it. You work together. You're always a team. So that crumbled when that wasn't happening on the other end of things. So then I started questioning, like, how can you be so convinced that that person is going to be that in the future and then they don't turn out to be that person? All in all, I think the answer to this fear is to know that you won't be able to predict that fully. And you need to let go of that. You need to actually have confidence in yourself that if you were able to handle it one time, that you can actually handle it another time. You can handle it. You can handle anything. I think that some people think that they're weaker because of the experience that they've been through, but actually you're quite stronger. And I think that people surprise themselves every day in that aspect. Now, with that being said, I think again, the person that you're with, that you're looking to marry, also plays a huge role. Like, you have to go through certain experiences through months at least, if not years, before deciding to marry somebody that tells you that they are committed, that shows you that they turn inward towards the relationship when there's an issue. I think that when you're young, when I was young in my 20s, I thought I knew everything. And then I got married at 21. And this is one thing that I did not look for. I didn't look for if there was an issue with the relationship. Was he turning outward, or was he ignoring it, or was he turning inward and wanting to work on it? Love actually isn't enough. You do absolutely need that, but you want to make sure that that other person is capable and committed and wanting to turn inward and work on things and work through things, especially with a commitment of marriage. So how do they view marriage? Highly important. With that being said, I absolutely share the same beliefs and the same ideas and beliefs surrounding marriage as the man that I'm with. And if you guys haven't heard yet, I'm going to break the news to you here on YouTube that I am getting married very, very, very soon. Like, you're going to see it very, very soon. I have been engaged for like a year and a half. And I will say that we really could have gotten married like a year ago, and we would have. Like, we really planned on that after I kind of came back to life after having my youngest. We were planning that, but then we decided to build a house instead. And we just had like other financial commitments that logically, like all these logical reasons, again, right, kind of got in the way of that. But now we're moved in, we're settled, and we decided 5 months ago to really start the process of planning our wedding. And our kids are all going to be there. It's going to be a beautiful day. We are so looking forward to it. I'm going to be sharing some images, some videos. There might be even some other content creators there that are also going to be sharing some stuff. So I'm really looking forward to it. I feel like in God's timing is a real thing. Like, I feel like that everything has really fallen into place the way that it was supposed to. And that's how you should feel, guys, going into it. Like, you can have nerves, you can have old fears that you recognize as old fears, but don't let that stop you. Like, if you feel like at peace with the decision, if you don't feel at peace, then I think something might needs to be addressed that's running a little bit deeper. But if you feel at peace, then go with it. Like, life is short. Life is short, and we're all strong in whatever happens in the end, right? All right, guys. I hope you found this video to be useful, and I will see you next week.